Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 60 of Restitching the Tapestry, where we, in very, non-traditional and super gay ways, talk about a variety of different things. That's going to be our new mission statement. I'm kidding. So it's really great to see all of you. It's been a couple of weeks since we've done a show, so it's wonderful to be back and refreshed and ready to go. And this also is going to mark our last show of 2021 because we're going to be doing our holiday break that we typically do at the end of the year. So that at least gives you something to look forward to also, because we have a lot of ideas coming for 2021. So yay, it's gonna be fun. So, oh my God, how Ari, Sherri, how have you both been doing? Ari, you want to go first?
Okay, so I bought this really cute dress and you can't see it, so I'm just going to stand up and do a little twirl. Can I do that really quick?
Yes,
okay.
Please.
I insist.
Okay, here we go. Dress, 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 dress.
Okay. Oh my God, I need something to fan myself with. Oh my
God. HAWT.
That outfit is stunning.
So, I've been great. I did have a little bit of an issue last week. That's why we didn't have a show, among other things. But I'm much better now. I'm in a great place. I took a bath. I'm going to take another bath probably. And I'm going to have a great night.
Oh, that sounds so fun. I need to take a bath. It's been so long. Like, I love baths, but like showers are just so much more convenient for me,
So you do the Cowboy Bebop thing, shower, bath, shower, and you're totally great.
The Cowboy Bebop thing. I love it. So, Sherri, how about you? You are also wearing a stunning outfit tonight. We all look great. Like, I'm just saying,
kind of just always. That's our default setting. We always look great.
Everyone, contain your thirst as you watch this tonight. Just saying. So, Sherri, what have you been up to? How have you been doing?
I'm in the middle of finals, so I'm as well as can be expected under the circumstances. I've been putting off my responsibilities pretty, I have to decorate for Christmas. Come on.
That's also I have to do dishes. I have to do everything but grading. I get that. Trust me.
Yeah, that's pretty much been my thing. So guess what I'm doing after the feed tonight?
What are you doing?
Yeah, I'll be grading tonight.
Oh, no.
I know.
Oh, right. The suspense was palpable.
Fine. Whatever. But yeah, so everything's great. Like, pretty much. I don't know. I don't have anything exciting to say.
That's pretty exciting, though, that it's towards the end of the semester and you're like almost off and like free.
Yeah, I have it set up. I'm such a bum. I have it set up to where it's like easiest for me. So like the last 2 weeks of the semester, my students are just turning things in online. So I don't even have to be on campus. So it's actually like the calm before the storm for me. You know what I mean? So I have this little, like, there's a few things I need to like get graded. That's like leftovers and things that have been turned in later, whatever. But honestly, the majority of it's going to hit me like Saturday. Like that's when, and Saturday I have a Christmas party here at the house. So probably Sunday is when I'm going to be hungover and trying to grade finals, and that'll be exciting. I'll actually do it Monday. Like it's all going to be due Friday, so that means I should grade it Saturday. So that means I'll actually probably get to it Monday. Just to be honest, like let's be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's my life. That was a terrible introduction. I guess I should have planned something. I had nothing good to say. Why am I even on the show?
Donny, are you talking? I can't hear you.
Yeah, Donny, laryngitis. Oh no.
Did you get muted?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I must have like pushed the button on my microphone that I'm still getting used to. I apologize.
My story was so bad that your voice was just like, no, we can't.
No, actually what I was saying,
so it's like
I'm like just gesturing. What I was saying is I was like, no, your introduction was iconic because I can relate to it 3,000% because that's exactly what I've been going through lately. The end of the semester has arrived. I am trying not to drool and froth at the mouth while grading. And like yesterday, I graded for 14 hours. It was my eyes by the end of yesterday nearly fell out of my face. But I rewarded myself with peanut butter cookies and wine. So like that's what got me through it. Other than that, what I've been up to lately, I went to a concert last Saturday, which was fun. I cried like 30 times.
That was the Evanescence concert, right?
Yes, it was. I got to see Evanescence and Hailstorm. This week has been pretty busy. Been handling some like COVID exposure stuff from class, which has not been fun, but you know, that's kind of the risk we run when doing face-to-face classes, you know, in the middle of a pandemic still. But other than that, like I've been doing pretty good mental health wise. I've been surprisingly good despite how stressed out I've been, because normally by this time of year, I'm like so mentally exhausted and so depressed about the holidays that I'm just like, I don't want to get out of bed. But I've actually not been doing bad. Like I've actually been looking forward to the holidays, which is a rarity.
You know, me too. For the first time in years, I've actually been looking forward to the holiday. I like bought gifts. I never buy gifts. I'm like very bah humbug about the whole thing. Usually it's just another day, all that kind of stuff. And this year, I always decorate and I always throw a party for my friends and stuff, but like deep in my black little Grinch soul, like, you know, I'm like, ugh, whatever. And and not to burst everybody's illusions, but you know, there it is. My little inner goth kid comes out. And I don't know, like this year I've just been like kind of in a good mood about it and kind of excited about it. And I have like presents under my trees and like, yes, I have multiple trees.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
So do we.
Yeah.
And they are iconic. I can see some of them.
Yeah.
I don't have any trees up. I don't have any decorations in my apartment. I go over to my parents' house and they have all the decorations.
I mean, that's easier. Then you don't have to clean up later.
Right.
That is the worst thing about like the holidays is like setting things up and taking things down. Like if I could just snap a finger and everything be beautiful, then I'd be like, yes, that's great. But no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have my Mothra themed Christmas tree in here. That's as far into Christmas as I've gone when it comes to making doing decorations. So
can you show us?
It's not on right now, but let me see if I can swivel this. Oh, nope, my cord's not long enough. JK, not doing that. Okay,
No.
I will post a picture at some point and everybody will see it that way.
Sounds good.
Or I'll show it in the video. I don't know. We'll see.
You want to see my crazy trees? This is my progress.
Yeah.
So motion sickness. Everybody get ready for the trip. So I have the pink tree.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
And I have a turquoise tree whose lights refuse to work for some reason. So that's a problem I have to solve this week. Or tomorrow, actually, because I have a party Saturday. Donny's coming to it. He already told me. He already promised.
Well, I'm in quarantine currently, or else I would.
There's my little Santa collection, which you can't see, but that's a weird little old lady tchotchke Santa collection that I have. Yeah.
That was great.
So that's
I am obsessed with your house, honestly. Just saying.
Still waiting on that studio tour.
Still waiting on the studio tour.
Yeah.
You know.
Someday.
So let's see who we have in the chat this evening. So we have Arpy here tonight. Taylor's here. Taylor is also suffering from grading. Let's see. Leo is here and doing a shameless plug for Animal Crossing in January.
I think we have Panda Austin. Isn't that your son?
That is.
Panda Alsatian. Woo-hoo.
Oh, Alsatian. Sorry, I said it wrong.
It is Alsatian, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Taylor's like, look at these fly folks. Taylor, I'm sure you're looking stunning right now too. You always look stunning.
And Tara's in the chat. That is, let's see, how do I introduce Tara?
Tara, hello.
Tara is my life partner / my son's stepmother / we used to work together at the Renaissance Festival, and they were played my assistant for years. And so we have a very weird incestual relationship. Yeah.
I love that descriptor.
That sounds great. It sounds like a great relationship. I love it.
Sophia, hello. It's good to see you.
Sophia. Sophia was my former roommate in college.
I know, we all like knew each other like a decade ago. Isn't it mind-boggling to think?
Yeah.
I remember that Sophia would deal and tolerate our Monster Movie Mondays. Oh my goodness, those were the days. Okay, so tonight we wanted to talk about 2021. We wanted to do a kind of like self-reflective review on how the year has been for each of us, and also talk a little bit about the holidays as well, how we like mentally prepare for them, a whole variety of different things. So tonight's going to be just a hodgepodge of reflection and sassy conversation, as it usually is, right? So of course, before we start, I'm going to go through our show's mission statement. So many witness different atrocities, large or small, that fray the social fabric around us. Much of the time, many may feel powerless and know not how to address such things. And this fray has gotten worse with the rise of social media because we're able to share in a trauma collectively as it goes viral in real time. And many of these atrocities happen to marginalized communities. So our goal with Restitching the Tapestry is to in some way use what privilege we have in order to not only educate ourselves, but also help perpetuate what we learn. And we do this in a variety of different ways, whether it be through just having conversation about like very difficult topics, about creativity, about like our own lives. We do it in a whole variety of different ways, and we just want to encourage transparency, vulnerability, sassiness, and honesty. So this is turning into a very wordy introduction, so I will stop now while I'm ahead. So let's begin our reflection on the year. So how has 2021 gone for you? Do you like, for all of you, has it been an improvement over 2020, or has it been worse for you than 2020?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Who wants to go first?
I think Sherri should go first.
Sherri, you're on the spot.
So yes and yes. It's been better and it's been worse. Like, I'm one of those weird introverted, extroverted people. Like, I'm extroverted in a small group of people that I feel close to, but I don't like being a face in a crowd. You know what I mean? So like in a big crowd of people, like I tend to feel uncomfortable unless I've got my little enclave of people that I'm there with. So like 2020 didn't bother me that much, in that staying at home and doing nothing is kind of, you know, I was a latchkey kid in the 70s and 80s. Like, you know, I'm Gen X. Like, we were born for that role. It's like, all right, like, you know, I got Netflix and popcorn. I don't need to go anywhere ever. Like, whatever, you know. So 2021 then was like kind of opened up a little bit more. I guess the only thing that's been better about it is that I've been able to see some of my friends in person more. And that's been, you know, some of the people I'm very, very close to, such as, you know, Panda and Tara, you know, having them come over from time to time. And actually they'll be over Saturday and I'll get to see them for, you know, Christmas, for the holiday. And so like that's been better, you know what I mean, in that way. But at the same time, I feel like COVID has been touching more people that I know and that I'm close to in a more real way. And that's been horrific to watch because the numbers have been picking up, especially here in Michigan. And so in that way, it's been heartbreaking at the same time. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's been a mix of things kind of in general. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely relate with that. Ari, do you want to go next or do you want me to go next?
I'll go next. So
go for it.
2020 was not a bad year for me because I stayed home, baked, made a bunch of cute videos where I did stories with my sister Jessica for a while. And then after that, she didn't want to be in the videos anymore. So I just made videos by myself. I did try to lose weight in 2020, but it did not work because I was on medicine that just would not let me lose weight. But I tried so hard and it was like, nope, not going to happen. But I did get a book done in 2020. I wrote Full of Now, my poetry book. It's on Amazon if you want to buy it. Just saying. It's only $10. It's great.
It's really good too.
It's so good. Donny's books are good too. Let's throw it out there. Donny's books are great.
Shameless plugs.
Shameless plugs. So anyway, so I finished Full of Now, and I still have a bunch of poetry from last year and this year to type up because I am a fiend who writes poetry all the time, regardless of when and where it is, regardless. But in 2021, at the beginning of the year, I published Full of Now through Alien Buddha Press. And then in October, I published my second book, which was a memoir of my first manic episode. It talks a lot about bipolar and the bipolar experience, and it's through Gorilla Genesis Press. You can find that also on Amazon. But I did go through some of the revisions of that. It's still kind of messy in the final form, but that's okay. It just adds to the charm of the book.
I love that.
Yeah. So basically, I did a bunch of writing again this year. So many things that I have to just do. I still wasn't leaving the house in 2021. I noticed, like, I kind of just was in that groove of like, I'm not getting out of the house. This isn't happening.
Me too.
But I did get some writing done. I am starting to lose weight. I'm down to 244, and I'm so excited because they changed my meds. And like, I'm only doing it because I want to start running again. Like, there is a little bit of an aesthetic thing about it, but I just want to run again. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this. But anyway, regardless, so I started losing weight. My sister left for Texas. And so I'm in the apartment by myself, and I've just been dancing around my living room like the past couple months. It's been great. But that's how my year's gone. Donny, how's your year gone?
I love that. 2020. Okay, so 2020, I did have a lot of mental health issues in 2020, but I feel like that was the year where I finally started getting it under control and got help for it, which has been very crucial for me as I am now. Oh, thank you. But I like in 2020, I also really did just kind of, I as an introvert, I really flourished being at home all the time because I really felt like I was able to be more creative. It led to the creation of my first book, and it went well, and then it led to me writing most of my second book. So the pandemic has been, on a creative front, very, very good for me. But I've noticed for 2021, like, COVID's been kind of hitting really close to home.
Yeah.
So it's been always at the forefront of my mind. I feel like more so in 2021 than it was in 2020. Which is very odd. But some weeks ago, I found out that one of my students was in a very, very bad place health-wise with COVID. And I just had like this moment where I was just like, wow, this is
serious.
Yeah, this is a person that I see every day who is like 10 to 15 years younger than me, who's at the peak of their health going through this right now. So it's like, it's scary to think about. But at the same time, I feel like 2021 has also been a year for me where I have discovered a very odd confidence about myself that I didn't think that I had before.
You've grown so much this year.
I kind of feel like I have, like, in the sense that I don't really get a lot of social anxiety anymore like I used to. I think maybe just being at home and decompressing from like the social pressures of the world has allowed me to view them in a different way and know how to place myself in those situations differently. Now, don't get me wrong, I still get socially exhausted all the time, but there's a difference between being socially exhausted and being so anxious that you just want to be a shut-in, right?
Yeah.
So that's been a very crucial aspect of 2021 for me. Last but certainly not least, I think that 2021 has marked a year where I found a balance in my life when it comes to work and my creative outlets like YouTube, writing, so on and so forth. I used to always kind of like, and I've mentioned this before, place anything creative that I loved on the back burner. I'm like, nope, not doing it. Work, 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 work. I've actually been very militant over the past semester about making time for myself and being like, no, I'm going to have this glass of wine and do this. I'm going to go read this. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to play this video game for 2 hours and then I will work. Like, I've just never been able to kind of create that sense of balance. So, yeah, like I really do feel like being at home and being exposed to like this different lifestyle has made me appreciate and celebrate all the things that I forgot about while I was thinking of myself as this assembly line for my most of my life. And I think that this is something that a lot of people can relate with during this pandemic. Like, it has completely turned our lifestyles upside down in the sense that it's shown us that what are we without our work? Or better yet, what's left of us after that work, right? So
I was experiencing that from 2019 though, because I've been disabled the last like couple of years, and so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I feel what you're saying, Donny. Like, it felt like 2020 felt like it kind of hit the reset button because, like, first I was in college, then undergrad, then I was in grad school, and then I was like, and then when because my husband left when I started grad school, so then suddenly I had to work and be in grad school. So I was working at Delta as full time as possible, and taking grad school classes and trying to be as and just taking all these different jobs. I was an antique dealer, and I was doing all these different things, and like I just like in 2020 I just felt like I just like let a lot of that stuff go because I was just like, it's too much. I can't keep up this pace. I wasn't doing any of it really well. I was doing all of it sort of kind of, you know what I mean? And so now suddenly all these social pressures were off where it's like, well, you can't go and do all these other things. And so then I was able to take a big step back. And I mentioned, for those of you who don't know in the chat, I used to be the costume director for the Michigan Renaissance Festival. And I did that job for years. And that was a big time suck and a big mental suck for me. And I also played a role out there, and I was also one of the directors. So it was like these 3 big roles, and they didn't hardly pay me anything for it. And when 2020 hit, they still wanted to try to throw the show for some reason. They thought they were still going to be able to have the show go on. And I was like, suddenly, like my whole life changed. Like, I had to suddenly switch all my classes to online, and I had to take all these trainings and all this sort of thing. Don even remembers what that was like. It was like, a big hot mess. So I was like, look, my day job now has suddenly taken up all of my time. Like, and we're probably not going to be able to open anyway. Like, the state's not going to let us, the health department's not going to let us open. So I'm like, I'm taking a big step back. And they fired me. They replaced me because I refused to work in the middle of a pandemic. And I've just been a big ol', you know what? You guys can go F yourselves. Like, if that's your priority, is you would rather make money over the health and wellness of your employees, then I don't need you. So
I think that's smart because I think it's a bad idea to have all of those people in one place, especially if it's unsure whether or not they're completely vaccinated, or they're carrying COVID and they're a carrier, or they might be sick, but like they don't show symptoms yet. it's just there's so many unknowns going on there that I would have stepped back too if I were you.
And like when you checked all the fan groups, everything you heard was, and Tara can back me up on this, everything you heard was like, oh well, my freedoms, and we should be able to go and enjoy ourselves no matter what, and you guys need to open that festival because this is my only enjoyment for the year. And it's just like, okay, but what about all the entertainers? What about all the food service workers? What about all the people that are there putting that show on? It's hundreds of people that are involved in that show and making it happen every year. And you're not at all worried about their health. So then I'm like, so who are the people that are going to show up then? It's going to be all the unmasked jerks who don't care, who aren't interested in your health, who aren't interested in, in being safe, and who have made this a big political thing when it shouldn't be. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't want any part of that. I'm not even at all going to be involved in that.
Yeah, it seems like they're just going to be there to have a good time, and they don't really care about anyone or anything.
Just dance, monkey, dance. It's like, no, not going to do it. Not involved. So when they replaced me, I was just like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm fired then. So go screw yourself. So I gave all my costumes to one of the other directors, everything I had here in the house, I gave it to one of the other directors, and I was just like, go with God. Have fun, and I hope you don't get sick. Like, take care of yourself.
Wow. I mean, I think that's like, I really commend you for being able to do that, because like, obviously that was a huge aspect of your life, right?
For a really long time.
Yeah, like it not only was it like in a way leadership, but it was like an artistic outlet for you. So having that like disparity of like, well, do I keep doing this or do I do what's right? Like that's such a hard decision. I really commend you and respect the choice that you made.
Because especially when you're in a leadership role. Sorry, I'm just gonna spill.
No, go for it.
Thank you for the free counseling, everybody.
We love you, Sherri. We're always here for you.
But like, especially when you're in a leadership role like that, like you have to lead by example. You know what I mean? I'm like, if I'm just going to show up and just pretend like nothing's going on, I'm not leading by example.
Yeah.
I'm not living what I believe, and I refuse to live that way. I refuse to set that example for other people and for myself. I refuse to set that expectation for myself. So Tara says sips tea. Let me tell you, that's a whole separate podcast too, just spilling tea from that place.
Can I just do an aside really quick? I have to show this comment. Someone downloaded my smut. Taylor downloaded my smut.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, get that Kindle money. 99 cents, yeah.
That is iconic, and I love it. And Shayna's here. Hello, Shayna. It's good to see you.
Also, Taylor is grading her last paper. Look at her.
Hooray.
Cheers. I wish I was grading my last paper.
So, I'm going to send you an email, Taylor, with a bunch of forwards, just, in your spare time.
So many papers, so little time.
Right?
The truth.
I like that, like Leo, you make a great point. People don't understand one person's rights is where another's begin. The health and safety of another is important. Yes.
That's true.
Right.
Yeah.
It's absolutely right.
Yeah. And it has so much to do with community too. Like I feel like it takes immense wisdom to be able to be like, I'm going to sacrifice this for the betterment of the community so people can be healthy, right? Whereas a lot of people who have been very selfish throughout this pandemic have been very insistent, like, well, it's my right to essentially infect people with COVID, blah. Like, no, it's not. Stop.
Right.
Sorry, I'm very heated up tonight.
Yeah. And I guess since I've, said names of companies, I guess since I've said names of companies on the internet, I should say, like, I'm not trying to say anybody in management's a bad person. I'm not trying to say that anybody's like, please don't sue me. These are my opinions.
You're not like, the thing is, you're not saying anything negative. You're simply saying what happened. Like, it is truthfully what took place. And people can have opinions on whether or not that was a right or wrong decision.
Right on.
Yeah. So yeah, hell yeah. I don't know why I said hell yeah. But so like thinking about challenges, because like one thing that I really like to do toward the end of a year is I like to think about like, well, what was the most difficult thing that I had to get through? How did I get through it? And what did I learn from it?
That's a good question too.
Right. So like for me, the most difficult thing that I had to get through was kind of like the final entrails of imposter syndrome, I think.
Mm.
Imposter syndrome for me, as you both know, has been something that has really gotten to me a lot over the years. And for some reason, like, and especially this has been the case, like, with regard to creative outlets. Like, yes, I have 2 books that are out. Yes, I have had some success with writing, but deep down, I've always kind of felt like this is just an imaginary thing I'm experiencing. This really isn't real.
Or like
like
it's like a hobby.
yeah, it's like, oh, it's just a hobby, Donny. Donny, your writing is literally a dumpster fire. Like, yeah, you know. So around
Sorry.
yeah, like around August when like I was invited to do my first poetry reading, which was astronomically monumental for me. That was kind of like that moment where I was realizing I was like, you know, I don't feel like I don't belong doing this, if that makes sense. That I, you know, and I kind of realized just how much I've kind of treated myself as the other or forced myself into being that state. And thankfully, like having conversations with my therapist about this has been very helpful too. But um the greatest challenge was learning to stop myself from doing that. Like kind of like taking that internal voice that's like, Donny, you're a trash monster who doesn't deserve anything, and be like, you shut up, whatever you are saying that, right?
Mhm.
I wish
And
that I could do that because I'm still kind of telling myself that I'm a bridge troll and that like I just hobgoblin under the bridge, like, hey, Billy Goats.
oh no,
Oh.
our descriptions tonight are amazing. But like, well, and I think part of my, like you mentioning that, Ari, I think is important because part of my journey has been discovering that imposter syndrome, because of prior traumas, will always be there.
Mhm.
I've just found new ways to identify it and work myself through it with help, right? Um because it's never like it's not something that one can just delete and it never happen or be there again, right? So like I still have moments where I'm like, Donny, what are you doing? Like, Donny, this poem is trash. Like, you know, but it's not as like pronounced as it used to be, you know. I don't kind of fall into like the trap that I used to, where I would literally stop writing for like a year and not even think about it. Like that's a thing of the past now. So
Mhm.
So proud of you. So proud of you. And I was like,
Yeah.
I saw your book signing photo and I was like, oh, he's made it.
oh my god, that it was like super casual. It was like a little restaurant thing where like a couple of people brought their books, and I was like,
No,
oh.
you're not allowed to like minimize this. This is like momentous. This is like people like you so much, they want your autograph.
Yeah. You two are my cool author friends, so stop it. Like
That's me.
my cool poet friends. I'm just saying.
And you're our cool art friend who literally is good at everything artistic. I don't know how you do it.
That's okay. Maybe someday I'll collaborate with you, Sherri, and we can make a comic book.
Love it.
That's
Like
an awesome
you do
idea.
your junk journaling and then I write a story and then we put it together and make like a cool junk journal comic book that we can like scan and like I'm just spitballing.
I'm loving this.
This is brilliant. It's a wonderful idea.
I just wanted to kind of piggyback on your imposter syndrome thing, because that's something I've been dealing with for a long time too. And I think it's such a common thing in our society, right? Like, I don't know, but especially like when you start to get accolades and it's hard to like learn to accept them. I don't know. It's hard to learn to accept them with grace and not just be all, I know, like it's hard to like, what's that line, where you're just accepting, the truth, but still being critical. Like, I don't want to ever be so up my own ass that, I'm not paying attention and changing and being flexible. So I don't know. I've been dealing with a lot of that too. And I've been talking to my therapist about it. That's one of the things I think I've been changing and I've been doing this year. That's been a big change for me as I've finally, so 2020 hit the reset button. One of the things I learned was I spend my money on a bunch of bullshit that I probably don't need to spend my money on. Like suddenly I couldn't go to all these things. I couldn't do all this stuff. And then suddenly I had like this expendable income that I've never had before. Weird. Where'd all this money come from? So I decided maybe I should buy health insurance instead of going to the bar every weekend or something. So so I have health insurance now this year. So that's been a big change.
That's awesome.
Paying for my mental health visits with my therapist. And I've been seeing her for not quite a year. I think I finally got the guts to contact her over the summer. But we've been making some inroads and she's really great. And this is another positive outcome of COVID. Because of COVID, a lot of people are working from home, including a lot of therapists. So I look for telehealth therapists, not in this area, because I live in a small town. As Donny knows, we live in a small area where you're not necessarily going to get always the most open-minded of people. And so I found this lady who's BDSM friendly and, kink friendly and poly friendly and LGBT friendly and like just all of these like all of the things, like that's a whole 6 months that I don't have to explain my life to you. You know what I mean? Like that's just, we're starting from an even playing ground and now we can talk about the actual issues in my life. You know what I mean? Where I don't have to explain, no, poly's not weird. It's okay. So yeah, that's been a huge change and a huge help in my life. And I'm really grateful for her. And she's been able to help me move forward in my imposter syndrome, because I'm kind of maybe where you were last year, where I'm still struggling, that I started my YouTube channel as the costume director of the Michigan Renaissance Festival. I started it largely as, here are some supplementary videos for my cast. And now I'm not doing that anymore. So now it's like, okay, now what creative direction do I take my channel? You know what I mean? And I still want to keep doing it. And I still want to do it, but I've not quite hit on what that looks like yet. So
you'll figure it out.
Yeah, you'll get there. Just know that we are 2 of your biggest fans.
Support me on Patreon.
Yes, I will support you. Oh my god.
Yeah, if you have a Patreon, give us your link and we'll share the hell out of it.
Yeah, I'll make a video about your Patreon. I'll talk about it. Be like, this is Sherri's Patreon. This is why she's awesome, and this is why you should sign up.
Because actually, my Patreon pays for my health insurance every month now.
That is amazing.
That is such a good cause. I will definitely subscribe then.
Yep. Sign me. I will sign up 100%.
You guys are sweet.
So I'm really jealous, Sherri, that you have a therapist that like knows all about these things that you're like the baseline, because I've had to explain to my therapist that bisexual does not mean I'm always interested in men, and that I should find a guy and like settle down with a guy necessarily, that like if I'm attracted to women, I can be attracted to women too. It works both ways when you're bisexual. And two, I had to explain to him what non-binary is, and no, it's not just androgynous. And like he didn't quite get that. He's just like, I'm old, I don't understand. And I'm like, okay, let's start from the beginning.
Yeah. No, she's great. She's a little younger, so she's like a little more, I think. And so her schooling is a little more current. You know what I mean? Like her education is a little more current. Not to say that people who are older, I'm not trying to be ageist about it, but you know, once you've been through college, you've been through grad school, like you are up on the latest research and you're up on the latest whatever in your field. And if you don't keep yourself in that place, it's easy to age out as new theories come in and new philosophies come in. And I think a lot of people get comfortable in whatever their genre was when they were in grad school, and they don't acknowledge the fact that time passes.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, you know, that's where you run into trouble. And yeah, no, like, you know, I told her I was pansexual and that she didn't even blink an eye, like she understood what that meant.
That's so
Oh, that's amazing.
I'm so jealous.
See, like, it's interesting that you mentioned that. My therapist and I have a very unique kind of give and take, educationally speaking, where like if she's uncertain about something, she's like very open about like asking, like, Donny, can you give me clarification about this? And then like she'll explain her understanding of it. And usually she's right on point with it. But then I'll be like, okay, so here is this perspective that you may not have considered about the gay experience, right? Or like our struggles with like toxic masculinity and how they're different from how straight men struggle with toxic, you know, and like I kind of enjoy that I can, like, she's teaching me, but at the same time, I'm also like, I keep thinking about like, well, maybe I'm helping her in some way, help other clients who are LGBTQ plus as well, right?
It's good that she's open to that conversation too. I think a lot of us get our heads up our own asses once we're, you know, in advanced degrees and like, well, I am a master in my field, therefore I know all of the things, which really, I don't know about you, Donny, but when I got my master's degree, I was like, I know nothing. I know literally this little bit that I wrote my
I'm always like, how did I get this?
About. Yeah.
But then again, that's our imposter syndrome talking, right?
Right. Well, I mean, yes and no. I think it keeps me humble because it keeps me guessing, and it keeps me not guessing, it keeps me questioning, and it keeps me asking questions, and it keeps me learning things.
Well, I think that's what, like, I think that's what allows us three to keep growing in what we love to do, right? Like we love teaching, but we also love learning, right? And that's so important. I think that's the mark of any individual who, you know, wants to do some sort of good, is the fact that they're willing to give and take when it comes to that type of energy, right?
Right. And I think that's the best gift that we can give our students, is to teach them how lifelong learners learn, right? You remember when you were in college and like the instructors that were like really excited about their field and like had come up with something new and they were just like very engaged in their topic. They were the ones you learned the most from, right? Like, man, I want to be that teacher. You know what I mean? I want to be that person that's so excited about my topic that I'm like, that I'm just like, I just can't wait to get this knowledge out of my head and shoehorn it into yours, you know?
Oh my goodness. So I just realized that I'm like super behind on the chat.
Yeah, let's catch up on the chat.
My bad. My bad. Taylor, I've been drinking wine for like 8 years and I still mix it with soda sometimes. Me too. RP asks, when are you doing the next Monday in Life of a Gay episode? Very soon, probably like in the next week or so, actually.
I feel like we need to do a toxic masculinity episode.
That's what I was just about to say. Toxic masculinity in the gay community.
Part 1 and part 2. Sure. Because it's gonna take a couple of episodes to unpack that.
Part 1, we talk about just toxic masculinity. Part 2, we talk about toxic masculinity in the gay community.
We need to remember that for our little chat afterward, because that's like so all of you have like a little insight in our creative process. Ari and I will have like days that we pick. We will like stay afterward and just like bounce around ideas. We are always a fountain of ideas.
I know, and we just like shell out like 20 episodes sometimes, and we're just like, well, that's the next 3 months.
Honestly, it's kind of nice because then we don't have to worry about that. Like, I'd rather have that and have an abundance of ideas than us be like, cricket, let's talk about stuff, you know?
But this is why I still do the show, is because my two baseline things that I need are, we still want to do it and we still come up with new show ideas.
Exactly. And that it's worked for us perfectly. Like, we've not had an instance where we've lost interests or lost ideas. So
And for season 3, we're going to have Sherri be permanent. Can we talk about that?
I don't know. Well, I mean, of course, I don't want to put you on the spot, Sherri, but like it is something that we have presented.
The rumor around the water cooler is
the rumor has it.
We're just talking about it. We're just talking about it, but I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
We're in negotiations, but yeah, y'all in the chat, it's looking like Sherri's going to be a more permanent member of the team here and going to be in more of the chat. So
I'm sorry, Sherri, I put you on the spot.
No, not at all. Not at all. Are you kidding me? I'm like excited that you guys want to talk about it. Like I'm excited about it too. So
I mean, let's be honest though.
I feel like Santa got my letter.
Oh my god. Oh my god, that's so sweet. Let's be honest though, like I mean, we've obviously been obsessed with having you on as a guest for like the past 4 months. So like we've literally been coming up with specific video ideas where we're like, I think Sherri would be interested in talking about this, right? And so you've basically been like a visiting guest for like this entire or a visiting host. That's
the special guest star.
Yeah.
Also featuring.
Yes.
Let's see.
The best part about season 2 is that we've had guests on this year. Season 1, we did not have any guests, but season 2, it was guest year. Like we had people on regularly.
Right. Panda says, then I'll be a more permanent viewer. It looks like a lot of people are loving this idea.
Tara said, I fully support this plan. Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. The viewers voted me in. I mean, who am I to argue with that, right?
It's gonna be so much fun. Like honestly, like I know for both Ari and I, like doing this show, like it was such a spontaneous idea that we came up with, like a year and a half ago at this point.
We were just shooting the shit and we're like, let's talk about white privilege. And he was like, let's do a podcast. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, like, well, because like I had wanted to do, like I kind of did one by myself with the mundane life of a gay, and I still do that, but like I just think it's so much more meaningful to have people to talk to and for different perspectives to be brought to the table, right? And all three of us, like we both have such diverse histories. We all have histories where we've experienced some similar things too. So it's just been very. I love it.
Yeah, the dynamics just fit really well. Aw, Taylor says
my first co-host.
Taylor. Aw, thank you.
Oh. Yay. Oh my gosh, I'm nerding out. Anyway.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Ari? Sorry.
So, I'll talk about my challenges if you guys want to hear about it.
Yes, I was about to ask you.
So, this past year, I have definitely struggled with body image, especially since, I've gained weight and I don't look like how I've looked most of my life. Like, I usually am around 175 to 190 pounds. And like this last couple years, especially, I've gained quite a bit of weight, like more than 60 pounds. So I struggle with how I look. I struggle with how I feel. I struggle with the new challenges of this body that I have, like moving myself through the world and navigating environments now because I don't always fit into some chairs and I don't fit into certain clothes and I have to shop at certain stores now because I'm on the cusp of not fitting the clothes these days. But that's why I love Old Navy. Can I just do a shout out to Old Navy because they have sizes 0 to 32 now, and they have a non-binary section. So I'm like, yes, thank you, Old Navy. You are great.
That is awesome.
Spend all my money at Old Navy. The non-binary clothes are great because they're all tie-dye. Like, I gotta go there and spend all my money. But so that was one of the biggest things is learning how to love myself despite how I felt about myself. Like it was it was so difficult. And then I spent most of the year like torturing myself. Like I would work out a lot with somebody, like I was killing myself. I I don't want to trigger anyone, but uh, just recently I've been struggling with an eating disorder. And I talked about this before when we did diet culture, that I do have struggles with eating disorders because of my body image issues. I don't think I look appropriate. I am working on that. So I at least get a minimum number of calories in a day. And I take supplements to make sure that I'm getting all of the nutrients that I need during the day that I might not get from food. So it's definitely been like a two-pronged approach of like eating good food and like eating food that like enough food during the day without like killing myself, and liking myself as I am. And if I lose weight or if I gain weight or if I look like this forever, to love myself regardless. And that's why I started dancing, is because I was able to move my body in such a way that like I actually liked myself again. And I only just started doing this like a little bit ago, but it was just like, it was so freeing to just start dancing again and just be like, I don't care if I look like an idiot. I don't care if if people see me dancing in the window, they're going to laugh at me. Like, this is my space. This is me having fun, and like, F the world and like F what anybody else thinks. I'm going to do it. And I don't care if I look stupid.
Aw, good for you though.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you for that too. Like getting to that point, especially with body image, is such a difficult process, right?
Mhm.
And there's moments where like you feel like you're ahead, but then you kind of like have a slingshot backward. Like, but like you can at least recognize that momentum forward, right? Like that's what's so important.
And I'll always have body image issues, but it's like, I feel like I'm gonna get it under control here pretty quick. And like, I'm not gonna like torture myself that I'm not 115 pounds, or that I don't look like supermodels, and like that I need to stop comparing myself to magazines and actors and other, like I can just be myself and be present in my body and present in this moment.
And I would say give yourself enough grace to not always do it well.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like give yourself that grace, because there will be days where, you will slip and you will have, issues, and you will still, fall into the negative self-talk. It's a lifelong process, and I'm there with you, like we're doing it together. And, and I'm proud of you too. And I'm so happy for you that you're finding that space so that you know what it feels like. So that way, when you do slip, you can say, oh no, but I do know how to get into a better space. Like there are things I can do to pull myself out of this, because that can be so helpful.
It's true. Before tonight, I actually was like crying about stuff in my life. And then I just turned on Interstellars one more time. And I just was like, I'm going to dance this out and get it over with and feel better about myself.
You needed that catharsis.
I
did.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I love it.
If I can talk about some of my struggles this year, can you believe I didn't talk about those? I've actually been having a lot of health struggles this year. So last year, 2020, I had COVID, which set me back physically in a lot of ways. And then this year, I developed the shingles. Hooray, for those of you who don't know. So back up to, so I turned 50 this year. When I was 48, I went to get my shingles vaccine, and they turned me away. And they said, come back when you turn 50. You're too young. So the day before my 50th birthday, I developed shingles, because the universe is a cruel, cruel mistress with a terrible sense of humor.
It's true.
And
I shouldn't laugh.
It's okay. No, it's laughable. It's ridiculous. And it's a very me thing to have happen. Like Panda and Tara will back me up on that. It's a very me thing to have happen. So so I've been struggling with shingles since early November, and it's been not fun. So between these two things, like still dealing with like some of the the aches and pains and the stuff from having COVID last year, and now this year having shingles, like I've been pretty immobile for like 2 years now, and I've gained a lot of weight, and it's been very uncomfortable. So I am so with you on that struggle, Ari. Like, like what do you do when you physically can't do things? You know what I mean? Like, how do you keep yourself moving, and how do you keep yourself, able to a certain extent when you just physically can't, or you don't feel like it, or you're in just terrible pain. So I'm in the, like, look what I got in arm's reach, my pain pills. It's just pain management at this point.
You were the one that pointed out about fitting into environments that, like, you can't go to certain restaurants because of their the environment, that it's just not fat friendly.
Right.
And after you said that, I really started to notice that, like, I can't sit in certain chairs because my hips and my stomach is just too wide for the chair. So I have to, like, either sit on the very edge of the chair or stand.
Yeah. And it's just such bull crap. Like, like, I don't know. They're restaurants and places, they should just have some more accommodations. Like, they just should have, sure, if you want to have the cute chairs with the arms on them, fine. But you should have a couple of chairs that are otherwise. We went to the hair salon. It was me, Panda, and my partner, Reggie. We went to the hair salon the other day, and I was waiting my turn. The boys were getting their haircut at the same time I was getting mine done. Excuse me. And, and I was looking around for a chair to sit in at my salon. And there were these two little cute, kind of mid-century looking chairs, but I could tell they were flimsy as hell and just some IKEA knockoff. And I was like, yeah, my mighty buttocks are going to crush that. Like that's not going to be a comfortable sit. So I like sat in it, but I was also partially kind of suspended above it. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't crush it with my weight. Yeah.
Do you feel that way about using the bathroom, that you kind of like have to like navigate yourself a little bit?
Yeah. Yep. It's like, I
always go in the handicap stall because then I have like the leg room to like those little stalls. I can't always go into them because the sides are too, and I just, nope, not happening. Not today. Not today, Satan.
Oh, Taylor, I'm so sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's really sad. Sorry to hear that, Taylor.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, my friend Megan's here.
Hi,
this
Megan.
Group dynamic is organic. Love that you embrace the difficult topics. Megan, we love you. I know I'm voguing while I say that, but it's necessary.
Are we going to have a Vogue off? Is that what we're doing right now?
Oh, yes. I'd lose. Oh my goodness. Wow. So
thank you, Arpy, sending me positive vibes. Thank you.
We've covered so much ground tonight on this episode. I feel like it's been like uplifting at the same time,
right.
If that makes sense. So let's talk a little bit about, like, obviously we are at a very critical juncture of the year where so much is happening, right? Like, holidays get very hectic. It's the new year. Like, for me, like, December is a nightmare. Like, it's Christmas. My anniversary with my partner is the day after Christmas. My birthday is 3 days after that.
Whoa.
Then it's New Year's. Ari's birthday is like January 6th. And then my partner's birthday is January 9th.
Oh, wow.
So it's like...
it doesn't end.
So my question to both of you, and anybody listening, feel free to answer this question too. How do you navigate the difficulties, stresses, or challenges associated with going into the holidays? How do you navigate?
Alcohol.
Yeah, I'd like to second lots and lots of alcohol.
I would third that.
Also keeping the grace to know that this is just a holiday season, and that if I am going to overeat, to just like, it's going to happen. I'm going to go to either a party or Christmas Day or New Year's, and I'm going to drink high calorie foods or high calorie drinks and eat like rich foods, and that I should just enjoy myself. And if I don't like it, there's always next year.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, it's so true. So Taylor wants to hear about resolutions or our 2022 plans. So our first episode of 2022 will probably talk a little bit about our resolutions, but I don't see why we can't give a little sneak peek tonight. Do either of you have like at least one goal that you have? It doesn't necessarily have to be a resolution, but a goal that you want to achieve.
Sherri, you go first.
So I'm very non-linear, so I don't think about the years in that way, and I don't ever do resolutions. So no, and I mean, and I'd like to back up a little bit. I mean, I kind of jokingly said alcohol for the stresses of the holidays, but like I don't stress during the holidays.
Oh,
I don't allow myself to stress during the holidays. I don't do things I don't want to do, and I do things I do want to do. Period. I throw a holiday party for my friends once a year. I throw a Friendsgiving at Thanksgiving, and I don't have any family around here, so I don't have any family obligations to drive me, up a wall. I don't know. I just don't. I don't take on things that are like my work life is stressful enough. I refuse to take on stressful things in my, regular life, if you will. So maybe I'm weird like that, but it's very
it's so practical.
It's so refreshing because I am not that. Trust me. I'm like oh.
Like I showed you guys my trees because I have presents under my trees. I bought presents willingly, voluntarily for the first time in like 20 plus years. Like I just don't do Christmas presents. It's against my moral fiber to do Christmas presents.
The commercialization of Christmas?
Because of the commercialization of holiday. Exactly. Like I just don't buy into it. Oh, by the way, one of those gifts is for Panda under the tree. So yeah. So
sneak peek.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm more of a, if I find something that I think you'll like, I'll just pick it up for you just because kind of person. Like I believe in gift giving. I just don't believe in compulsory gift giving. Mm-hmm. Like my partner, Reggie, he's not a random flower giver. He's a birthday and Valentine's Day flower giver. And I'm like, don't do that. Like, I don't want, because you have to, because you feel the compulsion to do so. Like that just feels gross and scripted.
It's
like,
true.
I'd rather not get flowers at all. You know what I mean? Like then you feel like you're forced to because it's some holiday or some date on the calendar. So that's why I don't do New Year's resolutions either. I know I'm not going to keep them, so why make them? You know what I mean? Like,
well, and see, that's why, like for me, I refer to them less as resolutions and refer to more as like just personal goals for myself. Because I really think that like goal setting kind of reduces the pressure of not necessarily achieving, right? Because goals can take on so many different forms, right? Sometimes I refer to them as just like, well, what are my desires? Like because desires are a little bit more abstract. They're not necessarily like these concrete things that have this pressure, right?
Yeah.
Do you have like any desires or anything for 2022, or are you the type of person that you're just like, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm more like that. Like as far as like bettering myself just in general, because of my job, I tend to think more in terms of the school year. So I'm more like in September, like how are things going to be different? You know what I mean? I guess that's more when I do my New Year's resolutions kind of thing, or like, how things are going to be different. I guess I don't think about it in the wintertime, because in the wintertime, I'm like, I don't know, too busy with other things that it's like, it's an abstract idea. Like time isn't real. It's this thing we made up, just like money. Right. So I'm just like, I don't know. I have a hard time like pinning myself down to, it's the first of the year, so it's this thing I have to panic about. And it's like, I don't know. No, not really. Like September, that's a real thing that happens in my life. That's a real, the school year changes and the rules change and a lot of things, go on. So that's usually when I make my plans for the year on how I'm going to change. That's a terrible answer. I'm so sorry.
Actually,
no, it's a great answer.
It's brilliant because I can relate with that too. Like, because there are literally years where actually most times where I will focus specific goals around school too.
Right.
Right. So like I definitely get that. And I've never like I'm glad that you articulated it that way because I've never really articulated it myself in that way. So love it.
I just think it's so pragmatic that you're like, screw the new year, like nothing changes on New Year's Day, U2 quote. So I just like, you're just kind of like chill about the whole thing. And I am not. I write down goals and I'm like,
me too.
The New Year's coming. It's when the clock resets. We got to start over, guys.
Ari, what are your goals?
Guess you need to embrace your internal hippie artist more. That's my job in your life.
Sherri's going to teach us the way.
Be creative still. I want to publish at least another book next year. Probably a poetry book, but I have plans for Red Queen series that I started in November and for NaNoWriMo. And I think I'm going to work on getting it published once I finish it and edit it and do all the stuff that needs to be done. So it probably won't happen next year, but like the year or so after. But like beginning phases. Another thing that I really want to do is I want to start running again. Like that's a goal for next year. I want to run. Typing up all of my poetry because I have 5 notebooks that I'm behind. Actually 6. I'm working on the 6th one right now. So I need to type them up because I need to like either get the poetry book together or like submit to some publishers for just their like quarterly and like other stuff. I need to submit more stuff and get kind of like a baseline of publishing under my belt because like I have a few things, but like I need more.
Here's my weird artistic brain. Like, do you have to type them up or can you just like photocopy your handwritten poetry into some like collage work that you've done and like publish that as a book?
I could, except my handwriting is terrible. I have the worst handwriting in the world. Sometimes I can barely read what I wrote. Like I'll be sitting here and I'll have my glasses on and I'm like, what did I write there? Is that for or if or but? It looks the same.
I'm at the school that, you know, I mean, like who says it has to look a certain way though? You know what I mean? Who says it can't be open to interpretation? It can say for, of, or but, right? Like the person could interpret that in their own way and maybe that would make it more personal. I don't know. I'm just, again, hippie artist.
So
it sounds like a good idea.
What I love about this trajectory, Sherri, is that I can already tell that you're infusing our show with like this breakdown barriers energy. And I need like I think both Ari and I need that.
We are so stiff sometimes.
We are Capricorn as hell.
Well, I think some of that is being writers too. Like writers are very, you know what I mean? Like you have to be very, like there's a certain amount of that discipline that has to come into that. Otherwise you'll never get anything written. And that's true for artists too. Like, that's why I say like, you know, I have to, you know, spend time in my studio, but then when I'm in my studio, it becomes much more fluid what I'm doing and where my brain takes me.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's actually
my paintings.
I like that. Like, it's interesting that you mentioned that, Sherri, because that's kind of part of my goals for next year. Like, obviously I want to continue writing and everything, but I really want to do like more hybrid stuff. Like I want to do like more scrapbooking, but also like combine it with journaling a bit more. I know Ari's known this for a million years. I want to draw more. I always say that I want to draw more. I have sketchbooks. I like all of it. I want to do more music. I've already been making plans to do that. I have like I've purchased like a book of like manuscript paper for music because I actually used to compose music at one point in time, and I really, really miss doing that. And I just need to like get my crap together and finally do it. So
here's a question: you're full time at Delta. Why not take a class, a drawing class? Take it with Andrew. Take it with Andrew. You'd love him. Like he's. I mean, I know you've met him, but you'll love him as a teacher. He's fantastic. And then,
I've thought about either doing that or like doing like a ceramics class because I love ceramics too.
do both. Ben's great too. They're both great teachers. Like I'm fortunate. Like I love you guys in the English department, but you guys nobody knows what the hell's going on in the English department. It's always so effed up. Like art department, like seriously, and we're a bunch of hippie artists, and like I always feel like I'm always angry with those guys. So I always feel like they're not doing things in my timeline. But then I hear from other departments, and I'm like, oh, never mind, we're good. Never mind,
We're perfect. What?
I take it all back. Take it all back. My bad.
Oh my goodness, I love this.
But I think you should do both. Like take like fall semester. See, now here's my year, right? I'm already setting out your year for you. Fall semester, you take a drawing class with Andrew. Winter semester, you take a pottery class with Ben.
Oh,
I got you.
I'm actually really consciously thinking about that. I might do that.
Here's my creative advice. Start drawing in front of the television. So stuff you see on TV, start drawing that. Like people and like scenes and like all sorts of stuff. Just get some color pencils or some markers and just have your sketchbook out and just literally doodle in front of the TV.
I thought about drawing Pokemon. Like I love Pokemon a lot, so I might do that. We'll see. So see, like no matter where you are, I think it's always fun to try new things, as Sherri would encourage us to break down those kind of like boundaries that we create, right? Because sometimes as much as those structures help us, sometimes they can hinder us too, right? They can kind of hold us back from doing what we need to do. So honestly, moving forward, like into the holiday season and the new year, I think that's the best thought that we could probably even end on. So
I think so, yeah.
I love it. So I love both of you so much.
This was such a great show. I am so excited that we had this conversation.
like Megan mentioned earlier, the energy, like especially between us and then like our commentators, like have been very like active tonight. Like I love it. It's so fun. So all right, let's do some shameless plugs and then we will bid ourselves farewell for the evening. So Sherri, shameless plugs.
So I do have a YouTube channel. It's a little bit dormant at this moment, but it does have a resuscitate. So there's no DNR on it, so it will be resuscitated soon. And so that's Sherri Makes Stuff. You can find me on Instagram, Sherri Makes Stuff, and you can also find me on Patreon, Sherri Makes Stuff. So and I will send Donny links, and he ensures me he will include links to things. So
will do. I will start adding that to our listing.
Awesome.
Ari, your shameless plugs.
So, buy my books, Full of Now and Dr. David Lynch's After Me on Amazon. And also, I have a tarot channel called Tarot Time with Ari. I haven't posted in a little while, but I do plan posting again. If you go to my Tarot Time with Ari channel, I do regular giveaways of tarot decks. So sign up for that and win yourself a tarot deck. I haven't done the drawing for the newest one. I'm actually kind of holding off because I only have 3 people that have signed up for it. So I'm kind of just like hoping that someone maybe comments so I can get some more people to like, so it's not just a 1 in 3 chance.
I love it. But yes, so for my shameless plugs, of course, if you are interested, go buy my books. Carbon Footprint, Feats of Alchemy. They are both collections of poems. So if you've not checked those out, please do. My poetry channel, Donny Speaks. I've not been super active on it lately, but I have some stuff planned for it. So if you were bored over the holidays and you want to listen to a poetry reading, well, there's some on there. Let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it for me. Yeah.
Those were some good plugs.
All of these have been awesome plugs. So anyway, I love you all. And as always, thank you for joining me and having these wonderful conversations. And we're looking forward to the new year. There's a lot of fun stuff coming. Love you all. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.